You might find most budget hearings kind of boring until you see that it's John Kennedy before Biden left office. They dumped billions of dollars into their woke charities to be laundered back into the Democrat Party because they thought their funding was going to get cut off. Welcome to Doug in Exile as we expose the biggest fiscal scandal of the Biden administration that happened within just a few weeks of him leaving office. This is recent. Watch this.
I want to go back to some of your earlier testimony, be sure I heard it correctly. The 76-day period you're talking about, that's the period between the time that President Trump was elected and President Biden left office. Is that right?
That is correct.
During that short period of time, 76 days, how much taxpayer money went out the door of the Department of Energy?
From the loan program office in loans and commitments, $93 billion.
That's loans from the Department of Energy. That's just one department. They go quick. Trump's going to cut all this stuff. We got to just diarrhea a bunch of money out. See what's happening now, guys? Got another scandal. We're going to have to claw all that money back.
Well over twice as much as in the previous 15 years.
How do you vet and do due diligence on a loan in 76 days? One loan, much less.
That's the Democrat leaving the room behind him. She's that gray-haired lady who's part of the cover-up, just ducking and running.
$83 billion. How do you do it?
I think it's probably pretty clear it wasn't done in many cases. As I mentioned, I'm told I'm holding back clearly in place stuff. There was lots of funds that have gone out the door and commitments that were made from businesses that provided no business plan, no numbers about their own financial solvency or how this project.
So you're telling me that the Department of Energy in the 76-day period before their boss was going to leave office gave or loaned money to entities that had no business plan?
Correct.
No financials?
Correct. A number of those were before the 76-day period as well. I've come in with great concern about how this institution, this great American institution, has been run and how American taxpayer money has been handled. I'm sorry, everyone's upset that we're taking some time to do it, but what we've seen and what the record shows,
I'm not upset. Could it be that a lot of people say you haven't returned your calls?
It takes a long time just to look at it and find $70 billion or more. But this stuff is still coming. That's why I'm reporting this. In the future, these scandals are going to be revealed of just how bad the Biden administration quickly laundered money through the government. By the way, that $70 billion is yours and my tax dollars. It's a loan that they got from banks with no business plan. And the bank, so see, they're going to keep getting money well into Trump's term, gets laundered to Democrats. That's the big scandal.
Is it conceivable that some of these folks that heard about this free money came to you with a half-baked idea?
I think it's very conceivable. In fact, I've seen such plans that were half-baked would be charitable.
That didn't have a business plan.
Correct. A promise to develop one, to find a location.
Just give me the money and I'll develop the plan later.
Correct.
And now you're going back through, not money that's already been contracted, but you're going back through and checking each one of these loans and these grants to make sure there was no stealing, aren't you?
We are.
We are. Make sure there was no incompetence, aren't you?
We're looking at that. And yeah, my blood pressure is rising right now just thinking about what we have seen and what did happen at the department.
And you're going to tell some of these boondoggles no, aren't you?
That's correct.
And they're going to be upset, aren't they?
That's correct.
And they ought to be upset, shouldn't they?
I don't think they should be upset. I think they should be ashamed.
These are environmental boondoggles he's talking about, where you could go up and say, we're going to come up with 0-point energy on the moon and then ask for $2 billion to discover it with no science behind it, and then just give it all to wash it back into the Democrat Party.
It's rare that I'm speechless. The people running the Department of Energy for President Biden's administration shoveled $93 billion, not million, $93 billion out the door in 76 days. And it just happened to be the time between when President Trump was elected and President Biden, their boss, was leaving.
It is correct and distasteful.
So that's $93 billion. What happened? See, they thought Biden was going to win. When they thought, or Harris could win, and they would continue just doing their normal slow malaise, new Green Deal environmentalism, when they found out they're going to lose, they go, Trump is not going to allow us to waste money. So we have to waste it in the next 75 days that will last 4 years. They took out $93 billion in loans and paid it out. That's a scandal.
Confidence undermining.
My God. Look, I hope you take whatever time you need to go through all of these projects penny by penny. I mean, I've heard this testimony today. Well, it'll cost jobs in my state. If somebody steals $50 million and goes and spends the money in their state, that's going to stimulate the economy, isn't it?
Yes, it will.
But that's still stealing, isn't it? And it's still illegal, isn't it?
Remember
Yes.
this, when the Democrats say that this guy at the EPA is going to take that money back, because all the Democrats are going to come out and go, we were going to spend that 90 billion in our state, and now DOGE and the EPA and Trump are taking away our money and starving our families, starving our jobs, starving our operations. You already know the excuse. That's what they're warning you about.
I mean, they were spending money at the Department of Energy like it was ditch water. Their budget went from $60 billion to $160 billion since fiscal year 2021. It just sounds to me like there were a lot of people coming to the Department of Energy who had all 4 feet and their snout in the trough. I hope you'll turn down the boondoggles and refer the thieves to the Department of Justice.
Yep.
We will indeed. Senator, the one complication in there too is mixed in there are good companies doing good things honestly with credible
that.
plans.
And you're trying to separate the wheat from the chaff.
Yes, that's what we're trying to do. That's our job, and we're doing it. But there's a lot of chaff.
Let me ask you one final question.
It's a $150 billion budget, and there's at least $90 billion in chaff.
Let me go back to how many employees you have. Now, there have been some allegations today that you've cut tens of thousands of employees. Is that accurate?
Well, I think the allegations were thousands, and our head count will ultimately be reduced by thousands, but we are doing it
You've
slowly.
got 16,000 now,
Yes,
and you think you can do it with fewer than 16,000.
correct.
What's wrong with that?
I think it's just common sense business.
Yeah, businesses do it every day in the real world.
They're calling out the Democrats for just doing their fake outrage, because their little preferred cronies, and you've heard of capitalist cronies, these are socialist cronies, are losing all their funding and their money, and it's being oversighted, it's being audited, and hopefully it's going to get removed. And anyone who broke the law in doing this gouging of yours and my tax dollars needs to go to jail. Do you agree? I'm Doug, in exile. Now you know.